faith of a mustard seed. Get up on your feet, rise up.
Welcome to the Drexel SEMO show. I'm here at the Junkanoo Museum here in the Turks and Caicos Islands, right on the island of Providenciales. And I encourage anyone, not only visitors but residents, to come to the Junkanoo Museum, which is on the Old Airport Road, to get an experience of, Junkanoo. Of course, I grew up in South Caicos, and that's where I was born. And I grew up there for 16 years. And we did a lot of mossing. And we're going to hear about mossing, what's the between mossing and Junkanoo. And one thing I could say about this guest is that he's consistent, he has maintained the culture by having these Junkanoo events on a regular basis, on Fish Fry, every Christmas. And that's what I like about that, because I'm not seeing like it has, died out, but he continued with the tradition of the Bahamian Junkanoo. But we're going to hear about that, because a lot of people say, oh, the Junkanoo was started by Turks and Caicos Islands and Bahamas. I do not know, but we'll hear about that. And so without any further words, I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome Mr. Kitchener Penn to the Drexel SEMO show, and we'll talk about his Junkanoo, We Funk. Mr. Penn, I just want to welcome you to the Drexel SEMO show.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
It's my pleasure.
Yes. Now, prior to the show, I was asking you, we came across your age. I can't believe you're 71 years old.
Absolutely. Born the first day of November, 1952.
Oh, wow. You look good for 71. And you're still moving. You're still active.
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
incredible. That's incredible.
But Junkanoo is a movement of love. And in addition to that, it's a form of exercise.
Mm-hmm.
Keeps you in shape.
Yeah.
Keeps you moving, and keep you active.
Right.
And of course, we have the young boys. So with the young blood influence, the old blood,
Yeah.
keep that circulation going.
And I think that's important that we train the young people, because I know in South Caicos we have a lot in this group.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I think his son sometimes did stuff, but we didn't continue with it. And so I like what you're doing. You have a lot of young people involved, and hopefully they will train other young people. I do like that.
Mm-hmm,
and I see in the Bahamas they have that. That's very common in the Bahamas as well.
Well, as a matter of fact, that was a pledge to my dad. A challenge by my dad, and a pledge to me, to my dad, to continue working with youth, primary, and keeping the culture alive.
I see. Okay. So what is the difference between mossing and Junkanoo? What's the difference?
Actually, there isn't a difference. But Junkanoo is an evolution of masking.
I see.
The original concept of Junkanoo in the Bahamas and here in Turks and Caicos Islands was masking.
Ah, okay. So it did start with masking.
Absolutely. And as a matter of fact, the because of the salt industries, a lot of our Turks and Caicos Islanders went north into the Bahamas with the salt industry and for the industry, and also to, better their lives and their livelihoods. So what they did was they took their concept of masking that was practiced here in Turks and Caicos Islands into the Bahamas. And what the Bahamian government did was capitalize on that concept of masking. And what they did was they would take pieces from everywhere. And hence we have what is established today as Junkanoo in the Bahamas, with concepts from everywhere coming together to make that parade.
Including from Africa.
Including from Africa, the South Americas, everywhere. What we have today as a result.
But Turks and Caicos played an integral part in the evolution of
Absolutely. Turks and Caicos Islanders were some of the beginners of masking within the Bahamas.
I see. And I know you mentioned you made a pledge to your dad, but to continue. But what inspired you or drove you to get into Junkanoo?
Well, from the age of 5, when I was able to carry a drum, I was taught how to play it properly, all of the instruments, as a matter of fact. And that has been my inspiration. In addition to that, my dad was the captain of the first Nassau Company of Boys Brigade within the Bahamas. As a matter of fact, he was knighted by the Queen for his work with youth in the Bahamas through the Boys Brigade. In the Bahamas today, they have over 200 companies of Boys Brigade affiliated with various churches and organizations.
What was your dad's name?
My dad's name is Simpson Calfred Penn.
He was born in Turks and Caicos?
My dad was born in Larimus, Middle Caicos.
Okay, and then he migrated to the Bahamas.
And at the age of 19, he was in a part of the RAF,
What's that?
the Royal Air Force.
Okay.
He moved into the Bahamas with that affiliation, and through his affiliation with semi-military and military training, he, along with Reverend Alfred Makepeace, they started the first Nassau Company of Boys Brigade.
Okay.
The concept was to give boys the opportunity to be a part of something, and to have a Christian and Christ-like life, instead of everybody, growing up and being whatever they want to be and end up into the reform schools and into the prisons.
Yeah.
It was a way of prevention, the Boys Brigade.
I like that. I mean, I think we need more groups, to groom our young men to become more productive.
As a matter of fact, it used to be called the Formatory School for boys, for bad boys. It's now called Simpson Penn School for boys in the Bahamas.
Oh, they name it after your dad.
Named after my dad.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So you say from age 5 you got into it. So it seems to me that was like part of the culture of the Bahamas then, this Junkanoo thing. You say from age 5 you got involved.
Absolutely.
So it was like it was expected then for young men, young boys to be involved.
Absolutely. And not only that,
Schools too?
well, at that point, the schools came along a bit later because the government saw the importance and the necessary to bring the schools in, and to bring and to pass it on to the young people the schools is very important,
Mm-hmm.
and it needs to be done here within the Turks and Caicos Islands,
I
as a
agree.
matter of fact.
Thank you.
You know, so through those channels, it was then spread through the islands and through the culture. But it principally began with the families.
Got it.
I learned to beat from my auntie. My aunt was one of the best
Yeah.
drum players in the world.
What's the name?
Her name was Amanda Alden.
Okay. Alton. Okay, that's the Turks and Caicos name.
Turks and Caicos name. Well, we're Penns.
Yeah. So both your parents from Turks?
Yeah,
Okay.
no, my dad is from Lawrence and Middle Caicos. My mother is from Knowles' Cat Island. My mother's
Okay.
Bahamian.
Okay.
And so, all my life, because of my last name, I was considered a TI Bahamian.
Okay. All right. And so I know the Bahamas, like every year, they at least twice a year, you believe,
Yeah.
they have events. Where they have a parade of Junkanoo, and I think in Freeport and in Nassau.
Uh-huh.
Were you involved in any of those groups?
Absolutely.
Which group are you involved in?
From the young age of 10,
Mm-hmm.
because of our neighborhood, I was a Saxon.
Oh, okay. That's a popular one.
I was a Saxon, absolutely.
Probably still a Saxon.
Still a Saxon. As a matter of fact, a founding member. One of the founding members of
Is that right?
the Saxon group.
Okay.
Over 40 years, I've been a part of that group. Well, like you mentioned just now, still a Saxon. Once a Saxon, always a Saxon. But I moved into Grand Bahama because of my employment
Okay, so you were in Nassau,
in Nassau.
and
Yes.
then you might. Okay.
Because of my employment, I was affiliated with the Sonesta Beach resort chain, and I was transferred into Grand Bahama, as a matter of fact, into West End, where the hotel Jacktaw, which was owned by the Sonesta Beach, by the Jacktaw chain, is where I was transferred to, and I worked there. And as a matter of fact, that is how I became a founding member of Junkanoo in Grand Bahama.
Okay.
Junkanoo in Grand Bahama started with myself and a good friend, schoolmate, a former schoolmate of mine, Bob Davis. Bob Davis, he lived into the Freeport area and worked with the Winn-Dixie food store. And as I mentioned, we went to school together, and we ended up on the island of Grand Bahama. I stayed on the western. I lived and worked on the western end of the island, which is at Jackdaw in West End, and he lived in Freeport. So every year, we would do a parade in West End on Boxing Day, and Bob being as I mentioned, my
Close
good
friend.
friend, yeah, I invited him and his group to come to West End. And then in New Year's, we went to Freeport to join him on New Year's morning for the New Year's morning parade, which was done at the International Bazaar by the Churchill Pub, sponsored by Oscar Porter. So Junkanoo in Grand Bahama started with Bob Davis, myself, Kitchener Penn, and Oscar Porter
Wow. That's a great.
at the International Bazaar. But what happened was the surrounding hotels, the King's Inn Hotel just across the street, and then there was the Bahamas Princess that Bob performed for, and then on the other side there was the King's Inn. Those hotels, they saw what was happening, and the parade in the bazaar would pull their guests away from their resorts. So they wanted to become a part of that parade. So then they spoke to us about
Formalizing it.
formalizing it and taking the parade from the International Bazaar onto the street, which was the roundabout there at the internet, just near the International Bazaar. And that is how Junkanoo started in Grand Bahama.
So you have a lot of history in the Bahamas. You were one of the founding members of this accents, and you're one of the founders of Junkanoo in Grand Bahama.
Grand Bahama.
That's very good to hear. You know, I hope you recognize.
And then I moved into Turks and Caicos Islands in
And when did you move?
1982.
82. Okay.
At that time in 1982, prior to 82, there was an annual regatta in South Caicos.
Yes, we still do.
Still do, absolutely. So that regatta in 1982 was the resurgence of regatta in Turks and Caicos Islands. After that, since then, the regatta is the number one island event here within the Turks and Caicos Islands.
Yeah. The oldest one as well.
And the oldest one as well.
And so in 1982, when you returned, when you came home to Turks and Caicos, you started the Junkanoo movement.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's how you came with We Funk.
And We Funk.
How you came up with the name We Funk?
We Funk is we as an us.
Together, okay. We,
Together.
Okay.
So that's we music. That's We Funk.
I got it.
Awesome.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, We Funk. Okay. And how many members you started off with?
Well, at that time we had about 12.
12.
Yeah. 10, 12 people.
Yeah. How many you have now?
And then, of course, we had the participation of, I have to speak about this lady, Miss Blythe Claire.
Yes.
Believe it or not, she choreographed the dancers, and she had all the school kids involved, and we had a fantastic parade.
From 82.
From 82.
Okay.
So we provided the music, and we got the schools. Have to leave. Can't leave out Miss Claire.
No.
She was a very integral part of it,
It's good to hear.
and we brought that.
Okay.
We rebuilt Regatta.
Okay. At 82, I was just 12 years old. Miss Claire was my teacher, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
And so, what does it take to maintain the Junkanoo, like the costumes, the making the costumes? How long does it take? Do you do new costumes every year? Tell us about the process.
Well, the process is very time consuming.
Wow.
So we for months of the year we're constantly working on costumes and rebuilding and constructing.
So you have different themes?
Different themes, principally for each parade, and costumes as well. In addition to that, it's very costly.
Yeah. I can imagine. I'm looking here and
Well,
I know this costs a lot of money.
and I'll tell you, but because of my pledge, as I mentioned, my dad, and I have to
Simpson, Mr. Simpson.
working with young people. When I came here into Provo, there was no basketball court.
In Provo, yeah.
In
We have
Provo.
one in South.
Yes, we had a league in South, and after my tenure in South Caicos, I moved into Provo.
Oh, okay, so when you first came from the Bahamas, you were in South Caicos.
Absolutely, yes.
For a few years, and then you
South
moved.
South Caicos and Grand Turk. as a matter
Oh,
of
okay.
fact. I started leagues in South Caicos and leagues in Grand Turk.
Thank
But
you.
I worked on the Club Med project here. So on the construction of the Club Med project. So
around
after that,
84.
so when that project was finished, I then moved on the inside of the hotel because of my hotel experience. I worked with
Jetons and escalator.
yeah, and so now I was able to utilize that hotel experience at Club Med. So I was the I worked with food and beverage at uh, Club Med,
Okay.
and but then as I mentioned, I play basketball. I was able to play Club Med at the court, and because of my talent, I played on the Club Med team. We had visitors from everywhere
Right.
that played at Club Med. So I played with the Club Med team. But here into the town, into the Blue Hill area,
Right.
we when I would go down to Blue Hills where I resided at the time, we played on the side of the street.
You say there's no court.
There was no court. So we played and the car passed. We stopped, and then once the cars passed, then we started playing again.
Oh, wow.
So I never forgot my pledge. I took my life savings and built the first basketball court here in Brooklyn.
Wow, where was that?
Right. Old Airport Road,
Old Airport Road.
downtown.
Oh.
Right here. Just
Yeah, I remember those. They used to have events and stuff.
absolutely.
Yes.
Yes. Right here.
Wow, thank you for your contribution. Now, do you get help? I know we talk about the costume and it's time consuming. It also costs a lot of money. Do you get help with this, or this is out of your pocket, or you make the money from your events you have?
Well, what I did was I've from events that I had, or I've actually staged events to raise monies.
I got it.
To help to be able to sponsor, costuming, and to be able to do presentations that we do as a group.
Okay. So, I mean, I know we're going to be participating in the Mass Canoe, right? I guess by the time this show's here, Mary have done it. What can people expect?
Well, this year we have a fantastic concept and theme, and we have a real thriller for the island of Provo. And I'd like to, invite everyone to come on out and
I
to
believe it'll
see
be
and really, experience. If you haven't been, or even if you've been before, come on out, because this year is going to be superb,
All right.
totally different.
Awesome. We're looking
And
forward to that.
and fortunately this year we did get a sponsorship from the Coca-Cola company,
Oh, okay. That's good. Thank you.
which was who this year, and of course we do have we did get some stipends from the tourist board to help us with our preparation.
Okay.
But we're everything else is from
Out of your pocket. Wow, we
my
appreciate it.
pocket,
Wow. That shows how committed you are.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So, what do you think it would take for us to have like multiple groups? Because right now we just have one group, which is We Funk. I know the Bahamas, they have all these different groups. They have this competition going on, and
Right.
people get their prizes with third, second, and first, I think. Anyway, they have a lot.
Yeah, a lot of groups, yeah.
And Turks and Caicos, we just got We Funk,
Mm-hmm.
and then we got the Moss, and I think with
At present,
the Pawadi boys. I think I'm not sure if they still do it.
yeah.
Do you think? Because when I go to Moscow, sometimes we just have one group, and then it ends. Don't you think we should find a way where we could encourage more than one group, multiple groups?
Absolutely.
And then we compete,
Absolutely.
and then we could get cash prizes.
Absolutely.
How do you think we could go about doing that?
Absolutely. First step has to be our government.
Got it.
The government has to put their foot into the pie, and they have to realize the importance of Mass Canoe. They have to realize the importance of our history and our culture. The government is not.
They play a very important role in getting it.
They need to play an important role in getting it. As a matter of fact, what needs to happen is, and this year, I've been speaking with a couple of the teachers because we did a couple of seminars and engagements with them
Oh, in the schools?
into the
Oh,
schools.
that's awesome.
So the teachers, they're eager to do school presentations. There should be, it's very difficult to do it during the Christmas season because the schools are closed. But there needs to be a time. And in my opinion, the perfect timing would be during the Heritage.
Okay, October.
No, October, April, March,
Mm.
some,
But we should prepare before the Heritage Month.
yes. Not Heritage, what is that? That
National Youth Day.
National Youth Day,
Mhm.
somewhere around there. And get the schools and get the kids in school.
Yeah.
Teachers are ready. The teachers want to be a part of it. The teachers want to do it.
Yeah.
But the schools need stipends.
Yeah.
They need help. They need an incentive. Once something like this can get off the ground, now we're looking at hundreds and hundreds of people
Yeah.
being involved, starting from
Yeah.
the primary,
Mhm.
junior school, high school, and all.
Yeah.
And once the spirit of Junkanoo is in you,
Mhm.
it stays in you.
Right.
And those are the future Junkanoos. So now, those various districts, those various areas would
Yeah.
come up with groups.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
and it will be a big plus for what we do or what we want to do or try to do with our parades.
Yeah. Now, I know you talked about the evolution of the Massing, the restart of the Massing evolve into Junkanoo. But in addition to that, how do you convince people that, because there may be a lot of critics who say, well, Junkanoo is not Turks and Caicos culture, it's a Bahamian thing, and that Massing is our culture. And I know you mentioned about the evolution, but how do you convince people that it is part of our culture?
It is. Because Junkanoo's archive started in 1859.
1859?
1859. I didn't write that. That is what our history has stated.
Mm.
Just like how Christopher Columbus came here in 1492, Junkanoo's archive started here in
In
1859
Turks and Caicos.
in Turks and Caicos Islands. As a matter of fact, 1859 was at the end of the emancipation period. Slaves were freed. The then freed slaves, along with the original inhabitants of the islands,
Mm. I thought it was 1834. That emancipation.
34, but then it took a while
Oh, okay.
to
Mhm.
before some people didn't know about it till a couple of years later.
Mhm.
But here, 1859,
And that's recorded.
it's archived. 1859. And Junkanoo is a celebration of freedom.
Hmm.
That's what Junkanoo is.
Yeah, and that's what you say is about love, it's about community. That's what you said.
Absolutely.
That's what you said
and,
earlier.
and that was the celebration of freedom. They didn't have decorations like we have today for costuming. So whatever they could get their hands on to create concepts of costumes for those celebrations is what they would use.
Mm.
So what they did was they shredded their shirts. They shredded the pants,
Mm.
creating concepts of costumes. They would take coconut bark, coconut straws, sponge from the sea, made costumes for the celebration.
And why do you think it's important for us to maintain that?
Oh, it's absolutely, because remember, history, we have to know our history.
Yeah.
In order
Yeah. And it tells us who we are.
who we are.
Yeah, we have to
And
distinguish ourselves.
Absolutely. We have to maintain it. We have to observe it, and we have to cherish that as a part
Yeah.
of us. And most importantly is pass it on.
Yeah.
Pass it on.
Yeah.
We have to pass it on.
Absolutely. I mean, we are adapting other people's
Absolutely.
cultures and other events. Why can't we continue with our tradition that our
Absolutely.
ancestors passed on to us?
Absolutely. We have to pass it on. We owe it to them.
So are your children involved in the in this? Are you passing them to your children too?
Absolutely, everyone.
So I think I do notice your children, yeah.
Absolutely, everyone.
I know that. I just wanted for the listening public to know, because
Yeah.
I do see your children participate
Yes,
in the Junkanoo.
right.
And they like it?
Absolutely, and they love it. And just like the first time I participated in Junkanoo was because of my dad.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because of my dad, my aunts, and my, you know,
Yeah.
family members.
Yeah.
And then, of course, then there was the groups.
Yeah.
So, but when I went to the group, I was prepared.
Yeah.
I could play the drum. As a matter of fact, the groups they didn't wait for me to come to them. They said, "Boy, we want you," you know.
Yeah.
Or they went to Mr. Penn.
Yeah.
You know. As a matter of fact, we were part of a marching band because we had a marching band, and our marching band was a drum and bugle band. So our bugle section was joined in with the Junkanoo percussion line and cowbells, and that is how the Saxons had the best music in town.
Okay. How young is your youngest member of the We Funk?
Yeah, but I got some little ones here. They're 6 and 5.
6 and 5.
But you know.
And you're the oldest member? Did you say
I would say so,
7?
yes. Yeah, I would say so, yes. We got some little ones right here, all ages.
Yeah. We gotta keep that momentum. We have
Absolutely.
to keep it. And I just wanna, take this opportunity to say thank you for your contribution to the culture and to maintaining the tradition here in the Turks and Caicos Islands. I'm glad you cleared the air about how it started from 1859, and even though we talk about Massing, but it evolved into Junkanoo. And so I think what we decided, I don't know but we decided to call it Maskanoo. They combined the Junkanoo and the Massing here at this event.
Well, we, unfortunately, the previous governments,
Successive governments.
successive governments here in Turkish Islands, they, in my opinion, they didn't see the need to secure culture. But Bahamas did.
Yeah.
They had the foresight. They saw it. They got it. So Junkanoo has become synonymous with the Bahamas.
Mm-hmm.
You see?
Yeah. It's something they do all the time.
So here in
They live and breathe it.
Yeah. So here in Turks and Caicos Islands, I sat down with a good friend of mine, David Bowen. He's very cultural as well.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, we were a part of a cultural board. And we brainstormed and we came up with the concept of Maskanoo
Okay.
for Turks and Caicos Islands. Something that we could say is ours.
Right.
Something that we could sell to the world. And it's been successful. And we've offered and put in hand and in place a product to the government of Turks and Caicos Islands to be able to offer to the world. And the same thing applied to our island fish fry. As a matter of fact, it took me 12 years before the then tourist director to see and appreciate the concept that I was
The
trying,
fish fry.
the concept of the fish fry, to see and to understand and to realize it.
Yeah. It's very successful.
And it's been very successful.
Residents
And-
and tourists look forward to it.
Absolutely. And again, another package handed to the government to be able to offer to the world.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I really hope that, we take this thing seriously, and then because in a lot of Caribbean islands, you got, what do you call it?
You have all those
Carnival.
yeah.
Of course, Carnival's equivalent to Trinidad, Junkanoo, the Bahamas. So I think if we can maintain
Right.
this thing with the Maskanoo come
Absolutely.
together, and it requires, investment, like you say, from the government, is very time consuming. I think we should do it, and I encourage you, and I will continue to write about it, and I hope this video will be a wake up call the government to, put more money into this event, because it's a lot of work, it's a lot of
Absolutely.
time, and it also shows who we are as a people.
And now that you mentioned that, we have something called Cultural Month,
Heritage Month.
Heritage Month. Heritage and culture is something that you eat, you drink, you sleep.
Yeah.
365 days a year.
Thank you. Thank
Not
you.
1 month
Thank you.
out of the year.
Thank you.
So the whole thing has to be rethought.
Yeah. I mean, they could have a month designated, but every day or every month we should live it.
We should live it.
And then the month we designated, which is October, we culminate, all the things we did throughout the year.
Absolutely.
I agree with you on that.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And our visitors and our guests. So that means if the other people that are not coming in October don't get to experience the history and the culture.
It should be done every year, every day.
Every day.
Yes.
Every day.
absolutely.
It should be something that any tourist, any time of the year, could come here and experience and share.
Yeah, and our residents. Do you have anything else you want to say that you think we've not covered?
Again, very important. Education.
Yeah.
You have to get it into the schools. Here at the museum, when the schools have their field trips, they bring the kids to the school, to the
That's
museum.
good. That's good.
They bring the schools to the museum, and again, the teachers, they come. A lot of the teachers are not from here, but when they come here, they learn a lot about the history. They learn about the culture, and they want to be a part. But again, the education department have to really want to make it.
Yeah, it should be
available.
It should be a subject by itself.
It needs to be.
Yeah, in the curriculum.
It needs to be. It needs to be. It needs to be. So if there's nothing, nothing being taught about Turks and Caicos Islands culture, then it leaves the teacher then to teach the culture that she knows or he knows from their country.
Yeah.
So
or no culture at all.
Or no culture at all. And then so we can't sit back as a people and get upset because the Dominicans celebrate Dominican Day, or the Jamaicans celebrate Jamaican Day, or Haitians celebrate Haitian Flag Day. We can't be, and then we get upset. We have to be proud and willing to celebrate us, Turks and Caicos Islands, Turks and Caicos Islanders.
Wow, yeah, and on a very good note. With that said, I just want to say thank you very much for being on the Drexel Steamer Show. This has been very informative. I really admire your tenacity, your consistency, and I do hope next year we have multiple groups. I hope it's being taught into the schools. I will certainly do my part in pushing it and continue to do your part. We can't give up.
No, man.
We can't give up. This is
Absolutely.
part of who we are. We must learn to accept it, appreciate it, and celebrate it.
Absolutely.
So thank you very much.
And be willing to share it with the world.
Yes.
That's why they come here. That's why they spend all this money.
Yes.
They want to experience it.
Yes.
And they're disappointed when they come and they can't do it. They can't feel it and they can't already. And that is the reason why and the purpose for the Junkanoo Museum.
Yes. All right. Thank you.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Thank you so much.
Great interview.